Still on?
Sure.
Okay, so we're gonna make notes for Gardnerella. And so first we gotta find it in purple and yellow. And that one's gonna be on same page, 147. Yep. And see, like, even for this one. So even for this one, like, you know, just whatever they kind of look like, I try to draw. And I learned kind of late to do it in the color, whether it's gram positive or gram negative. But like, here's my bacillus, and there's my little medusa head. And so whenever I make notes, I try to draw on them or write on them or put extra notes or anything that can help you when you're trying to think back about what they look like. You know, for these, I sat there and put which one, if I could remember, you know, the different ones, which one's negative, which one's positive. Okay, so Gardnerella vaginalis, page 356 and 147. What's your big clinical infection?
Let's see. UTIs, I think. No.
Oh, what kind of infection? It is a vaginal infection.
Let's see. So with bacterial vaginosis.
Exactly. Bacterial vaginosis, and specifically what kind of cells?
Clue cells.
Clue cells. This is going to come up over and over and over. So your Gardnerella vaginalis causes bacterial vaginosis and will create clue cells. And what these clue cells are is squamous epithelial cells, and they'll have little rods on them. It's saying specifically gram variable rods, but most of the time when they look at it, they'll just see these squamous cells with little bacteria stuck to them. And that's going to be what those clue cells are.
Are you currently sharing your screen right now?
I suck. Huh? Let me see. Yeah, I keep forgetting to switch it over when I get a new Word document.
Thank you.
So Gardnerella, y'all always remind me if it's not doing that. It's if I'm talking about something that's not on the page, it's because I missed it.
Okie doke.
So we got our bacterial vaginosis. What's our characteristics?
Let's see. It's pleomorphic.
Yep.
Ground variable Coccobacillus.
Okay.
Has short rods. And they often stain gram negative.
So I put gram positive or variable. And I also put negative. Which usually if it's variable, it'll show. And then it can either be rods or coccobacilli. Man, you need a clue after all of these, huh? And so it's normal flora. However, if your pH gets off and things like that, that's when people develop an infection. And it's often associated with like different sexual partners. However, you know, due to it being normal flora, you can get your pH off and stuff like that without. But it's generally considered like a sexual infection. So let me put BB up here for bacterial vaginosis. So what would you think is important next?
Let's see. That it could be isolated from the urine and takes longer than 24 hours to develop colonies.
That would be good. Where's that one at?
Page 357, top paragraph, where it says culture characteristics.
Okay. So most common specimen. Is going to be your vaginal discharge. And then, let me find the urine one. And then urine. Okay, and so then we need, let's see, put it under here that greater than 24 hours. And then what kind of growth does it need?
Did you say what type of growth?
Yep.
On the SBA, it has pinpoint non-hemolytic colonies.
Yep. That. First, I'd put the 5 to 7% CO2, which is what? What do you call that?
Is it canophilic?
Capnophilic. Yep. And 35 to 37 degrees. Okay, and now what do they look like on an SPA?
As pinpoint non-hemolytic colonies.
So then we, that it grows on chocolate agar. Does everything grow on chocolate agar?
I think almost, yes.
Everything? What is chocolate agar? And if you forget, you can always go to page in the purple and yellow book on page 140. Has your different kind of media.
Not everything.
No, so it's going to be mostly your Haemophilus and your Neisseria species, and it's enriched with hemoglobin or isobutalics. But that's not quite differential for just your Gardnerella, right? And so what's it now? It sits there and it says medium of choice. So that's another word, you know, that you need to point out in the book that's like, okay, this is more important than other things. So the medium of choice is what?
Human blood bilayer twin, HBT.
So I'm going to highlight this one too. So beta hemolytic colonies on HBT agar should be suspected as your G. vaginalis. MALDI-TOF will identify this organism well. Some labs use the 16S RNA gene sequencing for definitive identification. So beta hemolytic colonies on HBT. Think out of all that, that one's important. Got those. Yeah, Danielle, here on 356, additional identification methods. So Amsel's clinical criteria can also be used to diagnose VV if 3 or 4 criteria are found. So homogeneous, thin, white discharge that smoothly coats the vaginal walls, clue cells, and then the pH of the vaginal fluid greater than 4.5. And then a fissioder of vaginal discharge before or after the addition of 10% potassium hydroxide, which is called the whiff test. Because what more would you want to do with your career than take a nice whiff of vaginal odor? And so usually they're going to do those before culturing your Gardnerella. And I mean, they still send it off for culture, but it's not really the definitive thing. They're going to treat it probably before that culture ever comes back, especially taking over 24 hours to grow.